Namaste, Suswagatam, and welcome to our Sunday edition of Gyan Ganga Words of Wisdom on our Virat Hindustan Sangam social media channel. Another Sunday, and we have a very interesting program, Modi's visit to Russia and its consequences for Indo-US relationship, and we'll also be discussing the assassination attempt on Trump. With these words, I wish to tell our viewers that do subscribe, share, and like our channel. We are on various social media channels, and we will be every Sunday at 8 p.m. as you all know and have patronized us on this program. With these words, it's over to Dr. SUBRAMANIAN SWAMY.
Thank you, Jagdish. Actually, we had prepared for a very important matter for India. But what's happened in the United States has international ramifications. So we can have something about it towards the end. Let me begin by saying that it is very well known, the whole world, that Russia is an accepted, admitted junior partner of China. That there's nothing that Russia will do which the Chinese don't want done. And that's all the scholars of China and the scholars who studied Russia, they have written about it. And there is, in my mind, no doubt whatsoever that there's not a day that Putin can survive if Xi Jinping was not holding his hand. So therefore, today, to find the Prime Minister of India talking about all the time about our standing alone and all that, rushes to Russia to have a meeting with Putin. Now, what he comes back is not what we need most from America, and that we have paid for, and therefore we should be anyway getting it from Russia. And that's military weapons. S-400, we have paid. We just got one. Then they said the Chinese need it very urgently, so we're giving it to them. Since then, there's been no delivery. What the name? So therefore, I thought that Modi was going to go and pressure to get more weapons and so on. But all that he got was a lecture on economics. And of course, he was shown all the dache of, the beautiful houses of Putin and all that. And also given a medal of a Christian past, which the Soviet Union under Stalin had disowned. And now he has given a medal. I don't know who got it before this and which century they got it. But the whole country, they see, they are in India, Modi can orchestrate the media. And the media is, half of them are illiterate. So they put out whatever is necessary to be put out. So I would say that the issue that we need to look at is why did he go to Russia, and what did he get out of the meeting vis-a-vis China? That would be the most important thing. But unfortunately, I have not much to report on it because he never spoke. The Chinese was barely spoken in formal terms. The second thing is that you have to understand that China is not just an ordinary country, ordinary enemy of ours in the sense they blow hot and air and catch a little territory here and there. China has now got status in every country surrounding India: Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and of course Iran and other things on this side, and of course Pakistan. Now we are surrounded by China, and on top of that, the Chinese have come and taken somewhere around 4,064 square kilometers of undisputed Ladakh. and Mr. Modi is refusing to make that public. I have gone in the right to know, the thing in the courts, and I'm waiting for a result, which will maybe sometimes at the end of this month, from the High Court, because the bench, the responsible officials were unable to offer an answer to my question about how much land has China taken since 2020. I'm not talking about 1962. So that is being denied to us. Nobody knows. I speak to military people, they are in agony. And they tell us that, it's very, very heart wrenching for being us to be told, don't go there, the Chinese are already there, that sort of thing. So I think Mr. Modi is complicit for reasons which I think much more research needs to be done. But he's complicit in not taking up China. If you have no weapons to take on China, then get the weapons and get to those countries which are hostile to China. But what he has done is gone to that country, that is Russia, which is a junior partner of China. So what can Russia do? And that's how Russia has told us. Don't talk about any weapons in this visit. We'll talk about economics. How much export, how much import. Most of our things are that the Chinese, the Russians export to us, and very little we export to them. Maybe we send rice or something like that. So therefore, what I would like to say is that in our discussion, we have to understand, is there a choice for us to make? Do we have a choice? The way the American ambassadors reacted shows that the Americans had probably been thinking India would be part of the Quad and India will become a buffer against China. And they would have naturally, if we had been serious about it, they would have given us the necessary weapons which are superior to the Russians and the Chinese. So that didn't happen. And the American ambassador, I usually don't quote ambassadors, but in this case, he must have got clearance from Washington. And he has been very, very brutal in saying that we have choices too. Don't think that you can just go and treat us like this. How are we going to face the world on Ukraine? Ukraine was a country, wasn't originally a part of this Soviet Union. When Soviet Union broke up, people think that the Russia that we had an alliance with and the Indo-Soviet treaty, and that is Russian. That's not Russian. That was a conglomerate of nations. And this Russia is what is left after others just broke up and went away. Kazakhstan went away. So many other these countries, and give you the names. So they're all broken up, and what is left is a piece of about 1/3 the piece of what used to be. So therefore, for the going to Russia and expecting that they would help you against China, that is ridiculous, because Russia is in no position to tell the Chinese what to do. So what I would say for us to do is Mr. Modi has to come up front and tell us what's bothering him. Why is he doing like this? Why is he like a joker running to one country, another country, goes to Russia, then he goes to Austria? Austria? I mean, you mean you have no work in India? You can go to Austria, and the next time you go to the UN, you can stop on the way for Austria. So therefore, we are not getting a clear answer from the government as to why he went, what he got. And the Russians have put out saying that we only discuss economic matters. That means no defense matters. What about the S-400 for which we are paid? The Chinese gave us one S-400, which is it's a part of the air-to-ground attack. And then later on said that no, Chinese are in very urgent need for it, so we'll give you after. They have not given any more after that. So what is the situation? And all this shows that we may have a very strong prime minister within India, or at least with the Indian people, or at least those who don't stand up to him. And on the other hand, he appears now as a weakling in the whole world, which is a very sad tale for India. Over to you, Jagdish.
Thank you, Dr. Swamy. I think before we discuss, I think Ramesh can give us some update on what happened yesterday evening, and if he has any questions or information he wishes to share with our viewers.
Okay.
In the United States.
Yes, thank you. So, Dr. Swamy, you can see the picture behind me. So, in a rally in Pennsylvania, when Trump was addressing a good sizable audience, at about 6,000 people, which is big for the American standard, because a lot of people had turned up. Apparently, a sniper about 150 feet away, which is very, very surprising, on top of a roof of a building, he fired shots at the former president. The first one missed him. The second one, he as soon as he heard the first one, he turned. The second one grazed his right ear on the top. It ripped off his right ear on the top. And he immediately hit the ground, and the Secret Service surrounded him. The surprising part, Dr. Swamy, what's just churning out as we speak, none of this is substantiated, so I'm just collating information from wherever multiple sources, is that apparently the Secret Service had spotted him even before he fired the first shot. They were monitoring him. So what is up? We don't know today as to why was the Secret Service. This is, again, none of this is confirmed, but I'm just saying based on what I see in terms of being reported in multiple places, as to why was the Secret Service so slow to react and take the sniper out. Second, how did they even allow a guy with a rifle, with an AR-15, 150 feet away? Why? And even BBC, when they covered it, they said one of the people alerted the Secret Service and the police, saying that there's a guy on the roof. Nothing happened. All this is completely up in grabs. At the end of the day, Trump survived, and with the brilliant presence of mind, woke up, and that's the picture you see, what he is. So all said and done, in my view, I'm a Trump supporter. This election's over. I think Biden just has to say, okay, why even waste money on elections? Just hand it over to Trump and walk away. I'm just telling you, it's next to impossible to beat Trump today, because what has happened yesterday. But, Dr. Swamy, the impact of this is going to be global. When Mr. Trump takes his office next January, we're going to see a lot of change, because we don't know how this thing propagated. Definitely, in my view, I may be a conspiracy theorist, but with the left wing, with whatever rhetoric that has been spewed about Trump, he's a dictator, he's equivalent to Adolf Hitler, this hate that the left has perpetrated on Trump could have resulted in this. We don't know that yet. Let's wait for the outcome. But most likely, this is the situation, Dr. Swamy. Given this, we don't know if there's a foreign hand. That's also going to come up. Many people had speculated this because the left wing was going way too crazy on him and speculating, I mean, he's a felon, he should be jailed, and this, not, and whatnot, Dr. Swamy. So this has resulted, including Vivek Ramaswamy said even 8 months ago, that this is, if the left doesn't stop this, this could be a likely scenario. And it happened exactly as to what he said. And with this, Dr. Swamy, my question is, when Trump comes next year to power, what will be the impact of his government on India, given that India is going and kowtowing Russia? Because I'm just marrying these two and saying, first of all, I don't really understand why India needs to go. As you clearly mentioned, there was absolutely no need. We are anyway given, we have been made fools. Just go out there, give them a medal, and then come back home with something, some apostle, and that's also a Christian medal. I don't know. I really don't know. It's just boggling to me as to why does he need the order of the Saint Apostle, whatever that he's got. What did he get, Dr. Swamy? And you said, you highlighted, he didn't get back the S-400 that he ordered from 2020, zero. all he could negotiate was a possible truce or a possible sending of these guys, discharging of the guys fighting for Russia in Ukraine. And other than that, nothing. But it has created a huge impact within the US. Surprisingly, normally India is not covered, Dr. Swamy, but this visit of Modi to Russia is being very closely monitored, and people are not appreciative of this thing that he's going to Russia today, because there is a huge support for Ukraine in US. Okay, given the fact that he goes out there and says he's going to negotiate peace, it is naive, leave alone, it is stupid. It's not going to happen. And from a political standpoint, and you saw that impact when the ambassador gave very strong word against India. Given this scenario, Dr. Swamy, what do you foresee come January 2025?
Well, I think let's hear the
Okay.
other two, and then we can engage in a
Sure.
discussion.
No, I would like to make a comment. India is a democratic country. USA is a democratic country. I don't know what this fascination for Mr. Modi for Russia, which has a war going against Ukraine, which is a sovereign country. So
And a democratic country.
Sovereign democratic country. Why this craze to attack that country? And when Modi was there was an attack on one of the school or hospital buildings, and lot of children were killed. So all this type of activities, and all who believed that Mr. Putin will win the war within few days or few hours. Yeah, it's now nearly a year that the war is going on. So keeping that idea in mind, and also the Jansang, and before the BJP was formed, the Jansang did not have a very good idea about Soviet Union and Russia. So this special Congress legacy of aligning with Russia and the Soviet Union is really shocking for the Indian people, because Indian people, even for job or opportunities or for long-term treaty, they would prefer to have a treaty with a democratic country like US rather than a dictatorship country like Russia. So what is really worrisome is this over dependence on Russia for all these years by Modi administration. So Dr. Swamy, could you tell us any background why you think Modi is leaning towards Russia in this big way? We can have balanced relationship, but when the whole world is criticizing Russia on this Ukraine war, why is Modi so particular leaning towards Russia?
Well, generally speaking, I found those Indian leaders who sing the tune for Russia without being pro-communist or pro-China or ideologically bending, they usually are those people who bend before the Russians are people who have committed indiscretions in the past visits in Russia. I don't want to say more than that. And so the Russians use that. They have done that very systematically in almost many countries. You can read books on it. And I don't know whether that is the reason, but I think Mr. Modi should know that the Sangha background, the BJP, who are Jansangis and Janata Party members, they all have been very strongly against the Soviet Union and later on Russia, because they were people who were trying to spread communism within India at that time. So your answer to your question is, obviously they have some hold. One hold I could immediately say without the difficulty of embarrassment is that Adani, they've got Adani by the neck. And so maybe that's one of the reasons. We'll have to find out this once this whole thing flops with Modi, once the Russians turn in favor of China openly, and tell the Indians that, you've got to settle with China as China wants it settled, then I think which is coming by November, in my opinion. And then, of course, I think the whole country will wake up.
And Dr. Swamy, what will be the impact on India once Trump takes over? Is that going to be, given that Modi has visited and it has not been appreciated across the board in US?
Yes.
So what will be its impact?
See, as far as the United States is concerned, they have one bottom line. And the bottom line is India is a very, very large country, very strategically placed, and is all said and done a democracy and has remained a democracy. The emergency is an example, and even today. And so the Americans will have a lower line, which they will not fall below. And the upper line is if you don't become an ally. When we did the Quad as it was called, when we made those 4 countries, and created, the Americans are all set with a long list of things that they're going to give to India on military matters. Then they found Mr. Modi saying this is only for human rights, or I think he said about environment. Yes, this Quad is only for environment, and then after that the Americans have cooled off. At the moment, the Americans are definitely hostile to the politics that is being pursued by the BJP government.
And one more thing, Dr. Swamy, surprisingly, I don't know why, these visits, Modi's visit coincided with the NATO visit here. So we have to evaluate from that perspective. Obviously, that has been discussed according to Washington Post and a couple of other newspapers that have been reporting here, that this Modi's visit to Russia was discussed during that. So there are some things going on. So I feel not only will there be an impact on Indo-US, the other Western nations will also look at this very closely and see where this outcome is. Because one thing, he went out there, Modi did not have the stature to go and tell Putin or pull him up for attacking Ukraine. Obviously, I don't think he would have done that, or even have discussed that. I don't think they even discussed it in this process.
Agreed. You see, the thing is that in the NATO meeting, they called people from the Quad, but they didn't call India. They called the other 3 countries. Of course, Japan is not a member of the NATO, but they were invited. Australia is not a member of the NATO, but they were invited. Australia.
Australia too. Yeah, no, Australia is anyway not in the NATO. Yes, right, correct.
No, Australia. I'm talking about Australia. And then we were the third. We were the only people who were left out. And from that itself, I think could have made Modi a little agitated, but that's not an explanation for why he should take this agitation to go and powwow with the Chinese, with the Russians. And then what did the Russians finally say? We will not discuss weapons. Only on economic issues and the prices of exports and imports. This is all that they discussed.
And Dr. Swamy, one is what has been traditionally, again, he went there saying that we needed oil, we needed this, and as you said, it's more for trade and balance. Is that a good excuse? Because that has been bandied about in Indian press, saying
nobody in the world is buying Russian oil. We are doing a great favor by buying. It's not that we can't buy from others, but we will get oil from other countries if we agree to the blockade which the United States has put on Russia. So, the Russian oil is far inferior to the ones you get from Venezuela or from Latin America, or even from the United States, from their tanks. So, I don't understand why India should not. After all, what all Americans are saying, that if you pick on a small country which is a United Nations member, which is Ukraine, then you deserve to be blockaded. And so the other countries have all followed. So, I'm talking about the principal democratic countries. India should have been part of that. And since no one was buying oil, India started buying oil and started dancing in glee that, oh, we are getting Russian oil cheaply. That's not the way to build international status. So this is what I would say I don't blame Modi in one sense, because there's no challenge to him in openly speaking against him. People are scared. And that is something that we need to cure ourselves. And of course, the Nehru family members, they will not take a stand, because all that they may be European looking, whatever, they are committed to China. And they've signed an agreement with China. And they will never go against China. It's a very sad thing that their grandfather was humiliated by China, but they are willing to. So there was. I have a photograph of when the present president of China was not a president. He received Mr. Rahul Gandhi and his mother, and they signed an agreement. And one of the manifestation was that is the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation, where a huge amount of money has been given by China. So we have to understand that I'd like to be friends with China, but not on Chinese terms. They must vacate our land, and especially a land which is undisputed, which Modi is not willing to acknowledge. What is he scared of? What will the Chinese do that they're not doing already? And by the way, Chinese trade within India is still continuing as gregariously as before. So Mr. Modi is shown himself to be unfit. Whatever may have been his plus point in 2014, today he is a big liability for the BJP's future.
Doctor, one last point before Arvindji comes in. Even one of the topics that was said is trade. I mean, the trade imbalance is really way skewed, Dr. Swamy. We import from Russia $64 billion worth of it, and we export only 4 billion. I mean, what is this? What kind of a trade reason as to why would you go talk to Russia with? I mean, there is nothing that you have that Russia wants, but you're importing $64 billion, and people are jumping around saying, "Oh, we got cheap oil." This mentality I don't understand, Dr. Swamy. You want cheap oil from Russia, but you want everything else from America without any conditions. How is this possible, Dr. Swamy? You want the technology, you want IT services, all outsourcing jobs from America should come to India. You want this technology, that, etc. But we will buy oil from Russia. I mean, I don't understand this logic.
Is there a single newspaper which is reflecting what you're saying? Not one. Then what is the point in saying he doesn't care? Who the hell are you? I will do what I have to do.
This $60 billion gap, and we are saying we need Russia. What for do you need Russia? And one last point, one very good question one of the viewers asked was, given this Russian visit, is there a possibility the US can impose, if they really push this envelope a little bit further, is there a possibility of US imposing sanctions on IT services? It's quite possible, Dr. Swamy, I can tell you that. Given the economic situation in the US, they could use this as a cover or whatever. But I think it might have a very serious impact. This is my view, given that I'm in this industry. So that's the question. So how many jobs will be lost and US put sanctions on it? This is a serious impact on Indian's economy. And I don't understand why these andbugs and gutbugs are thinking, oh, we are getting cheap oil. I mean, all you do is, okay, drink oil then, Are you going to do that? Because nothing else is getting imported from Russia. It's $64 billion worth of nonsense you're importing. What, are you going to drink oil? I mean, Andhabugs and Gunbugs asking questions should be also takes a little bit of sense in there and saying that what is going on. Like, look at the larger picture. Don't look at your simple, selfish motives of saying, I want cheap oil.
Well, first of all, I'll say that if your national interest requires it, no harm in facing sanctions of the United States, and to tighten your belts, whatever you have to do. But tell the United States you can't do this and get away with it. But I'm not. I would like to be friends with the United States for a different reason. They have far superior weapons to anybody else in the world. Far superior. And we need them because we otherwise produce most of the weapons in our own country. But the new ones that we require in dealing with China, the Americans have it. They are not giving it because you are not a partner. So this is one reason why we should be friends with China, even if it with the United States, even if it means breaking with Russia, even if it means breaking with China. China, of course, you're almost broken. So second thing is, your people go to the United States to get educated. And even if they stay there, they are contributing here. So it's the intellectual property aspect of our relationship with China, with the United States. How can we forget? I myself am a product of that. I went to Harvard. I wrote a joint paper with Paul Samuelson, was a student of Simon Kuznets, and I came back. I understand economics better than anybody else in India. And when I write articles in the Hindu, people all say, why don't you write more? Well, the country is not in the mood, the government is not in the mood to listen to what I'm saying, but I'm saying that the intellectual property that we gain by being friendly with China, with the United States, is enormous. Of course, we will not sacrifice our self-respect, and we will not sacrifice the United States loosely helping our enemies like Pakistan. All that, but these are all things that you work out, give and take. You live in the United States. Americans are great ones at give and take.
Dr. Swamy, as Jagdishji said, India and USA are true democracies. And I don't even see there is no such thing in Russia. So that is also a very important factor because we strongly believe in it.
Yes, I agree. They can infiltrate. They do. They have. There is not only ideological thing. There are other methods also of tantalizing you, in which they can even trap your prime minister with. So therefore, I would say that a dictatorship should be a second level interest for us. We should give all democratic countries the priority, because this is the crucial fight that is going on between democracy and dictatorship.
अरविंद, आपके सवाल?
Let me start with the observation that Jagdish had made, and Dr. Swamy had answered that question already. But if I compare, though the comparison is not direct, but if I compare Mr. Narendra Modi and the former Prime Minister, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, there are a lot of similarities. Indira Gandhi, as we all know, had dictatorial tendencies. And if we observe 10 years of Mr. Narendra Modi, we know what kind of situation we have in India. The democratic institutions have been destroyed, much like what Indira Gandhi did in 70s. Not only that, Nehru was quite balanced as far as the poles were concerned, whether it is America or it is Soviet Union at that time. But Indira Gandhi was leaning towards Soviet Union, and Modi is following in the footsteps of Indira Gandhi by leaning towards Russia, though Soviet Union has disintegrated now. So this, and Ramesh made a very valid point. If we make a comparison between Indo-Russian relationship in terms of trade and Indo-US relationships in terms of trade, Indo-US trade is 4 times that of Russia. And Russia is only one way. I mean, $60 million is only all import. We hardly export anything. Whereas, though the trade deficit between India and the United States has also gone up over a period of time, maybe about doubled in last 10 years of Mr. Narendra Modi. But still, we have roughly $200 billion trade between India and US, and there's a lot of give and take as both ways. We export as well as we import, and we are number one in IT services, which US is a big buyer. So if we compare the pros and cons by leaning towards Russia or having a balanced relationship with US, we tend to lose if we are on the side of Russia in terms of trade and economy. And again, going back to the question raised by Ramesh, implications, though Russia has not very clearly shown the anger. In fact, in diplomatic terms, there is no anger, there's only unhappiness. And this unhappiness has been expressed after the visit of Mr. Narendra Modi to Russia in not so uncertain terms. And this reflects that possible implications will be harmful or likely to be harmful for India, both in terms of trade and in terms of employment. Now, of course, it is not so easy for US also. And as Dr. Swamy said, even if they do, doesn't matter. If it is in our interest, if it is in India's interest, we will have to tolerate that and we'll have to learn to live with that. But when we are in the diplomatic world, our geopolitical strategy should be one which should be a balanced one. But last 10 years, especially last 2 years, and after the Ukraine war, we have seen, though Mr. Narendra Modi had initially posed himself to be a neutral between Ukraine and Russia, but the tilt is very clear.
You have a good point. The question basically is this. If tomorrow the Chinese come to take over Ladakh, which is, I believe, is their aim, do you think the Russians will stand by you? Last time when the Russians, the Soviet Union and Khrushchev was the leader there, we had a war with China in 1962 and 71 because of Pakistan, but the Chinese also had intervened. At both times, and it's there in my book, Himalayan Blunder, both times what the Russians told us is, you are our friend, but China is our brother. Now, of course, Putin can say China is our master. The only thing is that the grip has got worse. So then they have themselves made it clear so many times. Why are you pretending that you have a great amity with them and understanding with them? And what do they need to rush like this? He has just become a prime minister again. Of course, not the majority, but after borrowing from others. And he should now improve his image within the country. Abroad, they care a damn. The only thing they care about an Indian leader is that this is a nation of 1.4 billion with a intellectual property which can blow the whole world if they ever get on a fast track. So, I mean, the respect comes out of that. It not comes out of Mr. Modi's coming and speaking and so on. In fact, they think it is a joke because he's all the time going here, there, everywhere. What was the need for him to go to Russia and then go to Austria? What is it Austria is going to give you? Yeah, I remember when Stalin was approached during World War II, Stalin was asked that, the Pope is of the view that we should support Hitler. So he said, really, the Pope? How many divisions does the Pope have? So this is precisely the point. I mean, many the Russians are not able to manage a small country like Ukraine, and their master is China, who is going to fight with us. How is it? This is all cockeyed.
No, one more question, Dr. Swamy. We all know that BJP does not have a complete majority in the present parliament, only 240 seats. So we can speculate how long will Mr. Modi last, whether he'll survive for this period or not. On the other hand, we have also been hearing for last 2 years almost the questions about Putin's health, and not only health, that is the physical health, but even political health in terms of instability in Russia. There are groups which are against Putin. So the question is, how long will these two leaders last in their power, and how long will these meeting will affect India?
See, the United States, they will come out with the bulletins and so on and so forth. We are not like that yet. But let me say one thing. Putin's first preference in India is Sonia Gandhi. You remember in 2004, Putin told Sonia Gandhi to come to Moscow alone. And she said, I want to see where my father was kept in jail, because he was a member of the Hitler's army, her father. And when Hitler crossed into Russia, Stalin smashed them and he was put in jail. So she wanted to go and see which jail her father was kept. And that was a place called Vladimir, near St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg is the home of Putin. But Putin called her, invited her. And the Soviet Union collapsed, the Russian embassy. There was an ambassador who was very outspoken. And he told me that we regularly had a KGB man come and deliver money, which was given to Sonia Gandhi. I'm ready to say this on television because it's there in a book written by a Russian scholar who's a Harvard PhD, who then was made the chairman, a member of the, by Yeltsin, when Yeltsin became president, to investigate the KGB. The KGB was bound up. Today we have something called FCR or something like that. But so they don't know, you will not appreciate unless you see it yourself, the depth to which all these people are compromised. And we have to deal with both of them, both Modi and Sonia Gandhi, at the same level as far as the Soviet Union is concerned.
बट डॉक्टर स्वामी, मैं हिंदी में पूछ रहा हूं, अगर राष्ट्रवाद की दृष्टिकोण से हम देखें तो पुतिन भी चाहेंगे कि अगर मोदी और सोनिया गांधी या मोदी या कांग्रेस में से उनको एक कोई चयन करना है तो वो कांग्रेस को चयन करेंगे. चाइना भी यही चाहेगा कि यदि मोदी और कांग्रेस को में से कोई चयन करना है तो वो कांग्रेस को चयन करेंगे. पाकिस्तान भी यही चाहेगा. तो ये राष्ट्रवाद की दृष्टि से हमारे लिए खतरनाक स्थिति नहीं हो रही है?
संपूर्ण, आपकी बात में संपूर्ण सत्य है कि यही है, क्योंकि हम लोग, वो लोग मोदी को नहीं देखते, वो देखते हैं आरएसएस को, वो देखते हैं सिद्धांत में जो बयान आते हैं वो, या उनके मैनिफेस्टो में है वो, उसमें क्या है, और वो वहाँ जो पूर्वज है उसको भी देखते हैं, पश्चिम भी देखते हैं, सब जगह देखते हैं. मैं कहता हूं कि बीजेपी, मोदी का बात नहीं है, बीजेपी को कभी नहीं आने देना है, ये इन लोगों का लक्ष्य है. और ये मिस्टर मोदी समझता नहीं है. ये कोई भी पार्टी हो और विदेश से वो कहेंगे वो हम मैनेज कर सकते हैं, इनको हम नहीं मैनेज कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि हिंदुत्व में जो बनेगा एकता, उससे हमारे लिए खतरनाक
खतरा है.
खतरा है, यस.
बट अमेरिका उदासीन है हिंदुत्व के प्रति, मोदी रहे या बीजेपी रहे, है।
हमने तो इनको अमेरिका को क्या नहीं बोल के आए। ये जब गया था मोदी,
हाँ।
तो क्या 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 प्रॉमिस करके आए। उसने जो करना नहीं चाहिए था, उसने प्रोटोकॉल को तोड़ करके ये वाइस प्रेसिडेंट से भी मिलकर आया था,
हम्म,
जो आधा हिंदुस्तानी है। आज की अमेरिका की जो वाइस प्रेसिडेंट है
हम्म,
कमला हैरिस,
कमला
तो
हैरिस।
उनसे भी मिलकर आया। ये क्या करके मैं तो उनके कमरे में जाकर मिलकर आया।
1-to-1
उन्होंने,
मीटिंग।
हाँ, तो इसीलिए मैं कहता हूँ कि वहां उन्होंने ये इंप्रेशन दिया कि हम दूसरे हैं, हम सोनिया गांधी नहीं है, हम कांग्रेस पार्टी नहीं है, हम राष्ट्रवाद के कारण अमेरिका के साथ, लोकतंत्र के साथ रहना चाहते हैं। ये इंप्रेशन देकर आने के बाद आज सबको लगता है कि हमें इन्होंने धोखा दिया है। वही है समस्या।
Dr. Swamy, can you foresee the situation which is better for India? Suppose Putin is no more there in Russia, and in this what happened last week, what happened yesterday in the US, if the Trump comes back, so the Trump there and a replacement of Putin there in Russia, do you think situation really better for India?
How can it be better? It is a well-defined system. They have inherited from the communists. So whoever comes has to conform to the system. What was Putin? Putin is in fact one of the most freelancing person. He was a KGB man. He was posted in East Germany before it became one. And as a KGB man, he felt a great deal of freedom. They have the maximum freedom. But once he got into the system, he cannot change, because he has the army there, he has the new FSB or something, which is called new KGB. So I don't think that any difference will be there.
Okay. Yeah.
There may be somebody who may want to modify, like the one who brought in Glasnost. What is that? He brought about change, and then ultimately he disappeared. There was a leader who spoke about democracy and this and that. In fact, did something. Yeltsin also brought in democracy, disappeared.
Perestroika and Glasnost.
Yes.
Gorbachev.
Gorbachev, yeah. I was a minister when Gorbachev was the president. And when Rajiv Gandhi wanted to go and meet him, so we arranged for him. And he told Rajiv Gandhi, because Rajiv Gandhi told me this himself, that the only thing that Gorbachev told him is, please talk to Mr. Chandrasekhar and get our relations improved with United States. Because of this refueling thing, which I did, the Americans had become very pro Chandrasekhar government. So, I mean, this is the extent to which they are. They can't make friends with America, but they have to come around and ask for it. That's the situation. It's you see, international affairs are always complicated. There are lots of ifs and buts, but we must know what our objectives are. Our objectives are that we will protect our country. We will stand on our own feet. We will not depend on any country for money or anything. We will do commercial work. And finally, we will have a strong army. These are the things that we need to do.
Dr. Swamy, now that the elections are very close for the United States president, what do you think the present today's or last night's attack on Trump will have during the campaign of the elections in the United States? What do you feel?
Well, we got somebody who lives there.
You're asking
But
a guy
let
who's
me add
supposed to.
my 2 bits first.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think unless the Democrats come up with some new scandal or and a new president candidate, I don't think that anybody can stop Trump from becoming president. But don't expect Trump to be friendly to you. He can be personally friendly. That'll fool you. He was very friendly with North Korea. In fact, he had him come to Singapore and meet him, but it did nothing for him. So Trump is a pure nationalist or ultra nationalist, and so don't bank on that he'll be better for India or worse for India. Yeah, Ramesh, say something
Yes,
on this.
You're bang on the Dr. Swamy. I cannot dispute anything on that because he's absolutely a nationalist, and he puts America first. That's his slogan. Period.
Yeah.
He doesn't care what the consequences are. America first, our interests first, and then only everything else. He would, because you cannot predict that he's got to stand against Russia or China. When it suits, whatever suits America, he will do. That's number one. Top priority is an ultra nationalist, as you said, Dr. Swamy. From an impact, as I said again, I'm a Trump supporter. It's a landslide for him. Even if they bring somebody on, it is going to be very difficult. But even before this incident, Dr. Swamy, there was, the previous week, the Democrats have been trying to, they've thrown Biden under the bus anyway. And you said, no, he's still halfway there. He's neither under the bus nor outside. But, now even that is gone now, because that is a problem now. So who will they, even if they replace the, technically, if Democrats want to save face, this is my view, the only person that can run against Trump who can save face is Michelle Obama. Let's see if that works out.
Wife of the former
President Obama. So let's see if that works out. And one other point, Dr. Swamy, coming back to this complicated US, India, Russia triangle relations. One person is recently published. This guy, he's a part of a think tank, but specifically for Asia relations. So he has written a very interesting thing. He says Washington and New Delhi do not just share only interest, not values, which means that is the shift that America has seen about India. That is not a good thing for India, Dr. Swamy, because it has always believed that India and US had a lot of shared values, be it belief in God, whatnot, God-fearing, democracy, a vibrant young population, technologically advanced, like what you said, good intellectual things. That is shifting towards interest, and that's not a good thing, Dr. Swamy. I just wanted to mention one point when Jagdishji asked what is going to be the impact, and this is where I see that thing going, because we are moving away from shared values to shared interest, and that doesn't bode well for India.
Yes.
Okay, I think, Arvind, we have taken a lot of today's time. It's time to wind up. Arvind Chaturvedi.
Yeah, I think in the light of what happened in US yesterday, this program, today's episode was very important, not only from the Indo-US relationship point of view, but as Dr. Swamy had described in the very beginning of this program, the visit of our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, to Russia, and what should have been done and what has not been achieved by the trip. And India should have India's political interest, India's economic interest as supreme, irrespective of whether Modi gets the highest prize, highest award, or whatever the medal was given, apostle to Mr. Modi. That's not important. But India's political interests and India's economic interests are two more important things than the personal equations with the world leaders. And therefore, India should follow a strategy which should be in India's interest. With that, thank you, Dr. Swamy, for highlighting this very important event and the implications. Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you, Jagdish, and the technical team led by Ashish Shetty. We have Tejas Navalgul today. His happy birthday. He's not present with us today, but we have Swaminathan Tejas Navalgul, Swaminathan's contribution, and with the contribution of Gadgi Rakesh, Ishwar Iyer, Vishal Mehta, Ajesh Nair, and Gurdat Sethi. Thank you very much, our team, the VHS team, for following this program and taking it to 240th episode. We will be meeting again in the 241st episode next Sunday, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time, with Dr. Swamy, a new topic and perhaps a new guest. Thank you. Till then, Namaskar. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, Jai Shri Ram.